Hi, everyone. I'm Joe from GoDaddy. Our presentation today is all about the website builder tool and how you can use it to create an awesome sports club website, or really any website in general. So whatever you're trying to put online, a website is a super powerful tool. Compared, for example, to a social media profile, which is also very powerful for reaching a new audience or new followers, a website gives you full control over exactly how you portray yourself and share whatever info you want to share. You can create as many pages as you need and lay them out in whatever way you'd like, and have things like custom contact forms, event listings, calendars, detailed about pages, and so on. And we're going to show how you can set a lot of those things up within the builder itself. When it comes to GoDaddy's website builder, all of these things are available in the free plan, and that's what we're going to be taking a look at. So if you're just trying to get some experience with setting up a website, all of this is available in the free plan of the website builder. And when you're ready to consider things like connecting to a custom domain or setting up online store tools or other advanced tools, there's plan levels above for those kinds of things. But let's get started with a free site for a cool little sports club, and we'll start completely from scratch. All right, let's get started. So here we are on the GoDaddy front page. We're logged in. If you have an account, you can always go to My Products. You'll see any of the website builders that you are already using, as well as any other tools you have with GoDaddy. In our case, since we're starting completely from scratch, we're going to go ahead and start for free right here. This is going to take us to a number of questions that are going to determine our starting template. The template's going to be a number of stock images and suggestions for sections. The sections, as we'll show, are the building blocks of your website. And you can keep or delete or change whichever of those you'd like. Add more pages, delete pages, and so on. So once you type in what type of site you're looking to do, in this case, we can type in sports. We've got a number of things that come up. You can click Sports Club. And then we can go ahead and call our site whatever we'd like. In our case, let's call ourselves AU Gold, bit of a pun, and also a team that I briefly played with in college or university, depending on what part of the world you're in. So we'll do that. You can actually kind of see the template in the background already forming. And when we click next, it's going to take us to the site builder. So right away, we can see we've got a number of stock images in and some content we'll take a look at. You'll see prompts like this as you navigate the builder. If you are looking for any extra help, they are there for that. They are there to show you what you can make use of or possible next steps, for example, up here. So definitely make use of those if you're feeling a little stuck or just need some extra guidance. Let's take a look at what we got in this template. So we've got this header up here. This is what's called a header. This is really the cover of your website. It's such an important part of your website. This is where your brand or your team name will show up. We can replace it with a logo if we'd like. This is where we can have a brief blurb about who we are, what we do, and even a button to encourage people to take a first step. This is just, in general, really good website design. You want this first section to stand out, show who you are, give people a little bit of an intro, and then encourage them to learn more or reach out, whatever you'd like them to do right away. As we scroll through, we're going to see a number of sections that were added in as examples of what we can use should we choose to. So for example, right here, the summer sale, if we were selling online, this could be a helpful tool for us to have a little countdown timer. We've gotten a little About Us section with some text to get us inspired to change up as we'd like. And as you can see, as I'm hovering my cursor over this, we're going to show this in more detail as we go. The cursor highlights the area that we can then customize. So this website that we're seeing, which is the actual website, is what the visitors and customers and followers will see when you publish it as well, is also an interactive menu. So you can do a lot of the work all on here. Got customer reviews section, you know, if we want some testimonials, and a place to connect stuff like Facebook reviews, social media bar, a place to collect email marketing subscribers, and a contact us form. So this is all on one page. We'll show how you can add a page. Spoilers, it's right over here. But before we do that, we're going to take a look at the theme area to change up the header and some more stylish elements of the site in general. So the theme area here gives you 4 main options. The big one to try out is this Try a New Look button. This brings up all the different layouts you can have for your header. And again, since the header is such an important part of your website, you really want to have full control over how you're showing off your image, your brand name, your logo, if applicable, the relevant text, maybe an action button like Contact Us here. All of these are optional, but it's all in service of making sure this space, this very important welcome mat to your website, this cover of the book of your site, is as explanatory and welcoming and enticing as possible. So you can look through these different layouts and you'll see that some of the big differences are the relevance of the image. Maybe the image will be a little smaller and over to the side with text a little more bold. It might be the main thing in the background with text over it. And as you scroll through, you'll see some of these other kinds of differences where the text shows up, where the button, if applicable, shows up. And if we had extra pages, we would have, right now we only have the 1-page template we're starting out with. Those page titles would show up on different areas of the layouts as well. So I really encourage you to come back to this theme area as you go building out your site, because you're going to get some different insights on what might look best as you add more images, add more content, and so on. For us, let's go ahead and go with this one. When you choose a theme, it's also going to change the font settings and the accent color throughout your site. Within the website builder, there is the single accent color you're going to have that is going to go throughout your site. And when you choose that here, you've got a number of colors that you can quickly select based on the image, which is a really cool tool. If you're not quite sure what color you want to go with for most of your site, you can get a color suggestion based on the image that you have in your header. And these will change if you replace that image as well. So super handy tool if you're not quite sure. You can also use the color wheel here to choose any color you'd like. And then you can have a custom color entered in here if you have a hex code. For us, since we're AU gold, let's kind of go with a slightly golden yellow. You can even see recently used gets adjusted here. And one last thing that's really helpful in the color area is you can paint your site, quote unquote. What this does is when you start at light, your site is primarily white with a few accent colors of the color you chose. If we move towards colorful, we're going to start seeing more sections have a colorful background. In this case, since we've got like a section and then an image and then this, depending on the layout, certain areas will be more colorful. And as we move from colorful to dark, the site will become much more dominantly black or gray with lighter or white text over it. So lots of cool options for that. This About Us section here specifically has just a white background, so that one's not getting changed. But the other sections are getting changed accordingly as we move this slider around. So again, just like with the theme up here, really good place to go to as you build out content in your site, because you're going to have a better idea of the flow of visuals. I mention it all the time when it comes to website design. You really want to make sure your website is designed to be accessible, easy to look at, and easy to navigate. And a nice, consistent color scheme and flow of image and text really helps serve that. Also just makes the site lovely to look at and explore. So that's color options in the theme. The other two options that you can change while you're here is the fonts and buttons. Buttons is pretty straightforward. There are buttons throughout your site. contact us is one example. You can go ahead and change the general look and feel of those buttons from this area. But fonts, you've got some options to choose the primary and secondary fonts that will be throughout your site. If you click advanced here, you can choose specifically which ones for each. Primary font is the font that will show up in headings, really. Secondary font is actually the rest of the text of your site. So stay competitive here, since that's just kind of a little caption or phrase that we have there. It can afford to be a little more stylish. In fact, if we look at some of the primary fonts, we'll see that most of them tend to be a little more stylish, a little more lavish, cursive stuff. And then secondary fonts are much more straightforward, readable, with still some room for personality. And the reason for that is similar to what we just mentioned with color. You want your site to be accessible, easy to explore, easy to navigate, and readable text is super important for that. So this is where you can go change those primary fonts, secondary fonts, either manually here, or you can choose one of the many pairings that designers here at GoDaddy have selected for you, and they're just a good combination of those fonts together. Great, so that's the theme menu in general. Again, great place to come back to as you build out content, which is going to be the next thing we cover. So we have this sports club website, and we want to add in some pages and sections that a typical sports club might have. One thing that we can start out with is the website page or website menu here. Since we only have a one-page site from our template, it just shows the one. But if we have this little, if we click this little plus icon, we can add a page and start that process. Before we do that, I want to show, if you're just starting out with your template and maybe you're feeling a little like you don't want to start yet without getting rid of some stuff you don't like. Let's say you're not going to use this countdown because you're not going to sell anything, you don't have anything you're necessarily counting down to, and it's distracting, or you just don't want it. Sections, which we're going to explore more soon, these building blocks of your site, you can click the little menu on any section, and you can either copy it or delete it. So I recommend this if you're looking at your template and you're like, I just know I'm not going to work with that. I want a really simple home page, or I want to get rid of this area. You know, we've got these customer reviews. Maybe we'll keep those for now. We could even change that to testimonials, for example, right there within the actual section. Let's say we're not going to keep these Facebook reviews, but this could be a really helpful tool down the line if we connect our Facebook. So these are all here as suggestions on what you might use. And we'll take a look at some more of these later on after we've added some pages and more content, because there's some good sections here. And we don't need to completely recreate them. We can actually move them from page to page. Another little sneak preview of stuff here we'll cover. But first off, let's start by making pages. Pages and sections are the two building blocks of your website. You can add a page by clicking that. New page is your default option. It will show up in the navigation, which means it'll show up here. Depending on your theme, it may show up on the left, on the side, but for most themes, it's going to show up on the top. That's called the navigation. And you can also have a page show down in the footer. So you can have page links be on the top and bottom of your website, and you choose that here. The other thing you can do is make a page be private, which is a really awesome tool if you want to have password protected content. Maybe you want to have a page only have content for members or people who paid some sort of membership fee. Maybe it's only for people within the organization and you want to have it hosted on your own site. Lots of different options with private page, and you can always make a page private either when you're creating it or afterwards from the website menu. You can make any page private. There's lots of tools that go into effect with how you manage who can sign in and access your private page. And you can find those in the dashboard. We're going to cover the dashboard towards the end of our demo here, but a lot of the tools that go along with the website builder can be found there. So let's go ahead and just call this About Us. I should mention there's a few other page types that are worth checking out if you're interested. Link to external website makes it so that you have a page link that goes to a different website, maybe a partner website, a fellow team, a business that you want to link to. And then drop-down menu is for when you've got a lot of pages and you want to make sure they're organized. Again, in that theme of making your website accessible and easy to navigate, you don't want to have, 10 plus page titles all up here. It can be a little overwhelming for especially a first-time visitor to find where they need to go. Having categories can really help that journey. So About Us, we're going with the vanilla options here. Let's click Create Page. And we're taken to an empty page where we are prompted to add some content. So for us, let's add in some content for membership and training venue details for our little club here. When we click Add Section, this brings up the section menu. Sections are in different categories. There's some general categories here, like recommended categories, COVID-19 response for more specific COVID-19 related sections. And these will kind of change, these general categories up here. These are the consistent categories of the types of sections that you can add. A lot of these you can consider more so as tools. So if you know you want to host a video on your site, you will look for the video section, and that section allows you to embed or share a video link. Similarly, if you know you want to blog, a blog section will let you host and publish blog posts. So the name of the section in almost every case is exactly what its function is. An online store for people looking to sell online, and so on. And then there's a category for general. General is your all-purpose stuff. This is where you can show off who you are, your bios, in our case, maybe membership details, stuff about the venue, maybe the history of your team or your business, or what people can expect. About sections and content sections can be used for testimonials and a lot of other things. So when you click on one of these sections, you will get all of the different layouts that are available. If you scroll through them, you'll see all the different images, like image types and balance of image and text that you can use. So you can see there's quite a lot to choose from, even just in the content area, like this very long section for a good amount of information with one featured image, more banner-like things. So whenever you're adding a section, do scroll through the layouts. You've got a lot of options for how you share that content. Let's go ahead and add in an About section. Let's go with this one here. We'll use this one maybe for our membership details. And if we want to add another section for training venue, let's go ahead and click Add Section again. We could do this in a number of different ways. We could add more content to that first About Us section, or we can make two different sections. It's really up to you, and we'll show you how to customize these sections shortly. Let's go with this one, kind of left and right image layout going on. And when it comes to actually customizing the content on this page, what you want to do is we've got the actual menu for the section over here on the right after we've added it. But anytime you want to edit a section, you hover your cursor over that section and you can see that it's highlighted. When you click there, you will be taken to that sections menu. Now, every section has pretty consistent menus. They have a layout area where you can change the layout. We chose that layout when we first started, but if we decide we don't like it and want something different, we can totally do that. This is where we can change the accent color manually for each of these sections, as well as things like the alignment, which will kind of change based on whatever you're working with. And then below all of that is going to be the actual content of the section. In this case, since it's just a simple About Us thing, it comes down to what's the title and what groups do we have. In this case, we just have one group, just for this Generate Excitement thing. but that group includes an image that we can replace. We can create a button and so on. So I like to showcase that. That's the general flow that you're going to be working with when you're working with the tools in Website Builder. You're going to be clicking on the section that you want to work on, and then using the menu on the right to further customize it. And you can also change things right in this area. So for example, if we wanted About Us now to be membership details, we could do that right in the site, but we also can do it here. I went ahead and changed up some of the text in these areas so that they're a little more relevant to the membership details and the training venue. What we can do next is we can go ahead and update some photos. Now, photos are uploaded and changed when you are working with a photo. So if you're ever just looking for where you can work with photos, find a photo or an area where you can add photos on your website. You can click on it. Alternatively, you can go to that section and find it. There's always two ways to get to somewhere within the website builder. So for example, if we clicked Our Members of the Gold Standard, clicked Media, we're taken to where we can change that image. Alternatively, we can just click on the image. So there's always those two options. You'll see options for changing the image settings in general whenever you're working with an image, including uploading videos. These are mute videos, is worth mentioning if you're not really familiar. Pretty much every website builder out there, at least as far as I know of, does not allow for audio autoplay video content. You can have the equivalent of GIFs or GIFs, whichever you prefer, playing, and they just need to not have audio. There's a number of reasons for that, including their unfortunate overuse in more spammy websites, but search engines don't tend to like that kind of autoplay stuff. All of that being said, you can absolutely upload a video that you can then have autoplay, and you can also have, in certain areas, a looping, mute, animated image. When we want to just work with an image, though, we can go ahead and click Change Image. That brings us to this area. I've already uploaded some photos here, but we can click Add Images if we want to add those in. These are all the photos I've already uploaded from my own folders. So you can go ahead and add as many images as you need. You'll have your own image library from here. You can even drag images into this area. In addition to uploading your own images, there are a lot of stock photos for you to use. For example, if we were to look up sports, we have over 2,600 images for you to use. These are entirely free for you to use. You don't need permission. You don't need to credit them. They're there for you to use as you see fit. So if you're finding that you need a little bit of an image to make a place in your site look a little more snazzy, but don't have a good photo for it, you can absolutely make good use of the stock photos as well. Worth mentioning the other options for images. If you connect to social media, you can find those here in different folders, as well as any other website builder tools you might have. In my case, I very clearly have been testing a Cozy Cafe website a number of times, so those all show up here. And the final thing is there is a tool called GoDaddy Studio, which is a very awesome tool to easily make really good looking stuff. You can use it to make a logo. You can use it to take some of your images and customize them so they look good for branding. And it's not found within this image area, but you can find it again in the dashboard of your product. It's called Studio, and it's worth checking out. We'll briefly show where you can change the logo. Why don't we just do that right now? Let's make our own rules. We can click AU Gold up here. This is our business name, and we can always have it be font, just the name of our business, and that works perfectly fine. You can even change the font to be a little more flashy if you'd like. So it's a unique type of font just for the business name or the team name or whatever. But you can also click Upload a Logo. And if you do upload a logo, you can either upload one if you have one, or create a free logo. This will take you to the Studio tool, which we can check out briefly here. It's got a lot of options to easily make something. You can start out with a template and then use graphic tools and text tools to really make it your own. So really handy tool that you can use along with a website builder. Now let's go ahead and change this membership detail. Our members are the gold standard. Let's go ahead and change that to some of these kids here. And then we can go ahead and click on this one for our little training venue. Click there, click change image. Check through our images that we have. And this one looks pretty good. Let's insert that there. So you're getting a little bit more of a visual of how it works to really assemble these things. Already we've got a nice little About Us page going for us. We can add a little bit more content to let folks know even more about us. But as is, already we've just taken a few sections, added some images and some text, and made it a nice looking little About Us page. While we're here, we might as well add a few other things. And one of them specifically, we mentioned it at the very beginning of our presentation today, is a website can be a good place to showcase events and calendars for whatever's coming up. About page might be a good one. You could make its own page if you'd like for an events page. But let's go ahead and see if we want to make a calendar here. So we click Add Section. We scroll through all the content here until we find Scheduling, Calendar, and we've got the one option here. Let's go ahead and click that. If you are a team or a sports club or any other business that has a calendar that you want to share with people, this calendar tool or section is really handy. It's not all manual. You don't always have to go in here and change things. You can do that. If you scroll down, you can see you can add events manually and then type those in. But you can link a calendar from most of the major calendar tools like Outlook and Google. You can enter those URLs here. In this case, it's from kind of a template like Google Calendar we're using to show what that type of calendar can be. But a really handy thing for all sorts of event calendars, if you've got a regular schedule somewhere on a public calendar or a shared calendar that you're already using, you can add a calendar section and that can get showcased in a section like this. If we really want to flesh out the About page, we could add a few more sections. One of them that might come up is if you want to build a news article section. Let's say that the club is making the news, or there's some good stuff to share about news around your organization or brand. You can click Add Section, and this can be done in a number of ways. Some folks will use something like a PDF viewer. This can be a really handy tool to take a PDF. Let's say you have a PDF from some sort of news publication, or that you got from whoever else is sharing the news, or you've made yourself. You can host a PDF on your site to take away the work of having to retype everything. So that's one great way for a news article section. Another option is in the general area. There's quite a few different ways that you can highlight content. We already showed the About and Content sections. These are really your best options. This section here specifically is great for longer form content. You can change that image to be whatever you'd like. You can even remove the image, and then you can update these fields accordingly. You can actually have quite a lot of text within any of these sections to share whatever it is that you want to share. And finally, one that might be worth considering if you are looking to update regularly with news about whatever you're putting online, the blog section can be great for this. This allows you to make posts regularly. You don't even need to call it My Blog. You can call it, event news, team news, whichever works for you. And then the blog section not only allows you to showcase blogs but there is a built-in blog tool within the website builder that allows you to make posts and feature them. Super handy. It's all within this tool. And if you click Start Writing, you'll get taken to the blog editor where you can start creating posts. A featured image, put in all the content you want, publish it or set publish dates. Very helpful tool. And we'll show this a few times. We've briefly moved over to the dashboard of the website builder. If we ever want to go back to just the website tool, go ahead and click website. That's going to bring you back. And the last thing in the About section is if you've got players you want to highlight, maybe famous players that you're proud of and you want people to read more about, or just for folks to see all the players that help with making your team great. This is pretty well done with another About Us section. So if you go ahead and click About Us, or my section, add section here, getting the tongue-tied, we can go to General, About, and one of them that I think is really good is this one here. It even says underneath the section, highlight services or team members. If you're kind of looking for inspiration, there is little example text under each of the layouts that can give you a good idea of what you might use for it. So if we were to do that, we could go ahead and click to add for a bio profile area and click in that area, you know, our team, and then we can start seeing where we would change the content here. Can put folks' names here, a little bit about them, change each of the images. And when we're just in the section to edit itself, we see that we have up to 12 groups to add. If we need more than that, we can absolutely copy the section or create another section and add even more. This 12 limit is purely just to make sure the section doesn't get too big, and you can continue to add more of them. So we just went through a lot. We added a bunch of stuff to our About page. We clearly have some things that we can go back to and change the images on, change the text. But I want to make sure we move forward and check out how we can add in some other pages and more content. A section I always recommend, especially if you anticipate people reaching out with any questions or wanting to join your organization in some way, is making a dedicated Contact Us page. We've been putting a lot of stuff in this About page, and I just want to highlight there's no great, perfect way to do this. You do want to have pages that are pretty self-explanatory. You know, people typically know what to expect from an About Us page. People typically know what to expect from a home page or a Contact Us page. But we don't necessarily need to have all of these things just on the About Us page. If we wanted a page exclusively dedicated to our team featuring players, we could absolutely do that. And we'll show this more in a moment, but you can always take a section that is in a page and move it to a different page. We're going to do that with our Contact Us section, which we have on our home page. Rather than adding a Contact Us section, we've got one here that already works pretty well. And so we can just go ahead and use that. Let's first create a Contact Us page. That gets added here, and we can add a section. For us, let's go back to the home page and instead hover over the Contact Us page, click on the little menu here, and then move the section over to the Contact Us page. Now that section has moved over, and if anything, I actually quite like this subscribe section being on this page as well as the Contact Us page. And a handy way we can do this is we can go ahead and duplicate the section and then move it over to the Contact Us page as well. If we wanted, we could do that with social media as well. I'm of the opinion that having social media links, if you are wanting people to find your social media, should be on every page. They shouldn't have to remember what page those show up. Having just a simple bar like this with your social media links works great. So we can go ahead and click here. if we want to update that, just taking a little detour here. And if we wanted to make a Facebook link, for example, we can click in the Facebook field and say AU Gold. We now have facebook.com/AU Gold, and we can do the same if we have an Instagram page, a YouTube channel, and so on. And then those will get added in live. Let's go ahead and duplicate that section now that we've added in some of those links, and move it on over to the Contact Us page. This is one of several ways that you can connect your social media channels to your website builder product. There are a few others that can actually connect directly with your social media page and make it easy to cross-post stuff. This is also in the dashboard. You can even see social marketing as an immediate option to choose from. Now let's go over to this Contact Us page where we've just sent a bunch of stuff. We sent over the Contact Us section, the Subscribe section, and the Social section. If we want it to be the same layout as the home page, this little button here allows us to move it up. Now we have Social, Subscribe, just like we do on the home page as well. Now the Contact Us section, if we click on it, is a really powerful section. This section is more than just what it looks to be with name, email, message. You can click Layout whenever you're working with the section in general. But for Contact Us, you can see you've got quite a lot of variety. So for example, if we wanted one that had a cool little map image link, we can do that. If we want it to be like it is right now, mostly featuring the contact form, we can choose that. If we want the contact form to be hidden with a button, this is a great option for that as well. So you can see there's some really variable layouts and ways you can use the Contact Us section. One specifically that's really worth checking out is the contact form. If you click there, you can go ahead and change any number of the form fields, such as name, email, message. Those are just there by default. But if we click Add, we can make as many custom fields as we want. You know, your experience level. Let's say if we wanted this to be some sort of application for the club, or you want people to reach out and give you certain information about themselves. You have full control over what fields are used, and you can add those in as you go. You can even have an email opt-in if you plan on doing any email marketing in general. So we can go ahead and change this up if we'd like to whatever kind of Contact Us form. We can come back here and decide if there's some different information we want and change it as needed. We can go back to the home page now before we look into publishing the site and a few other things, and see about changing up this important section. I really like to highlight the header section as it has all of these powerful tools since it's so important for your site. First off, we can go ahead and change the cover media. In this case, it's called cover media because you can also upload a video. You can go with an image or a video. This is an example of the kind of looping mute video you can have on for the header. For our image, let's go ahead and get a nice photo of some of the players. And already that's looking a lot better. We can go ahead and change some of these text fields if we want them to be a little bit different right within there. But the things that I wanted to highlight for the header specifically is you can add a promotional banner. And this is where you can edit your logo. We already showed that a little bit earlier where you can go ahead and click right here, but this is the other way you can get to the logo area, upload your logo, or work with that GoDaddy Studio tool to create your own. Promotional banner I always like to show because this is becoming an increasingly popular part of site design. Having some sort of banner on the top of your website, letting people know top of mind information. The example here is a more business-oriented site, so it's saying, hey, get 20% off this month when you try our services. If you're offering something like that, it's a fantastic idea to show that on the very top of your website. You don't want to hide that until the very end of the checkout process. For a website like this, we can say something like, no events from, November 2nd until the 11th, just some random dates here. And you can have this be kind of an announcement. So someone just can go to your website and see, oh, that's right, they have this going on. In fact, I often wish that this is done by a few more businesses. It can be a really handy way to just really let someone know right away on the site, hey, we know a holiday is coming up. We are going to be closed, or we will actually be open. Come check us out, give us a call, or come to our event, whichever. So really handy tool to share what's top of mind, be that event announcements, updates, or even specifically commerce-focused things. We've got free shipping, discounts on this product, use this coupon code, and so on. And that's all in the header. As you can see as well, this is where all of the other things can be found. You can have some social buttons right there in your header as well, and contact information as well. If we're ready to publish, one thing to consider is if you want to connect to a domain, we've got here augold.godaddysite.com. By default, you'll have some variant of a GoDaddy Sites domain. These are free for you to use, and this is what's included in the free plan. So when we publish the site, it'll be live at that website address. You can share that with people, and you can use it as long as you need. If you want to connect your domain, you can go ahead and click Manage. You can find a domain from here and go ahead and purchase it from this area. Or you can connect a domain that you already own from here, even if it's outside of GoDaddy. So lots of really helpful tools to connect to domains and make sure that the site is pointed in the right direction. There's a few other helpful tools here in the settings menu that I really recommend checking through, especially as you've gotten some more content on your website. One that I specifically like to call out is site history. This allows you to create backups. So let's say we want to make a backup of what the site looks like right now. This can be super handy and allow us to come back to what the site looked like at that specific time. Otherwise, all these changes that we've been making have been being saved automatically. You don't need to worry about that. But this is for folks that maybe want to do a number of different changes and go back to what the site looked like before those changes were done. You can even rename them, which is absolutely something I need to do in order to remember what that backup is. So for example, if we wanted to say Tuesday first design, something like that, we can go ahead and save that. Then we remember that that's what the site looked like then, and we can restore to that site. Lots of other tools here for analytics and tracking. Certain websites will need this more than others, but really powerful tools that you can connect to get a better idea of how well your site is performing. I always recommend previewing before you're ready to publish. This shows your website on the desktop and the mobile. We mentioned earlier that this tool was really built from the ground up to make it easy to have your website look nice on a variety of devices. This is where you can see that in action. You have the desktop version here. You can kind of scroll through, you can click on stuff, go check out different pages. And similarly with the mobile preview, you can see what things look like. You can see obviously a bit of a difference in the layout, and it's automatically doing that for you. So you don't need to know necessarily how to automatically move the images and sections. They'll automatically realign to make sure it looks good in a variety of devices. Overwhelmingly, the majority of people browse the web on their phone these days. Significantly more people than on their desktops or laptops. And so designing a website that looks good and operates well on mobile is essential. You can see they even have a little hamburger menu. If you ever wonder what that's called the hamburger menu. That replaces the home, about us, contact us layout for mobile. Send yourself a message, see how that works. You can use the preview as much as you need to make sure it looks good. And then when you're ready to go ahead and hit publish. That's going to make your site live, and you can start sharing it immediately. It's worth mentioning, publish sounds pretty final. You can come back and publish as many times as you need every day. So if you want to make a slight adjustment and publish again, definitely do. It's always just going to publish those changes and continue to keep your site updated. You can see a little prompt to choose a domain if you want your own custom domain. Lastly, let's go ahead and show the dashboard before we wrap things up. The dashboard is where you're going to land when you open up the product after the very first time. We started today completely from scratch by starting a brand new website, so we just jumped right into the website builder. Every time from then on, when we go to our little products page within GoDaddy and we open up our tool, our website builder tool, we'll land here on the dashboard where we're prompted to take the next step on whatever we might benefit from. This is super handy if you're not really sure on next steps, similar to the next steps area in the builder. So I highly recommend checking through that if you want to get an idea of what to do next. You'll get options and prompts to use the other social channels, like connecting to different social media, adding a blog, updating your website in general. And then there's a number of tools and main menus for stuff like email marketing, subscribers, marketing tools, and so on. Enough for a whole other presentation. But when you're ready to go back into the website builder, you can go ahead and click website here, and you'll be right back where you can click edit site and continue working on the site. That wraps up our presentation for today. I'm Joe from GoDaddy. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this helps you get more comfortable with the website builder tool. And ultimately, I hope that it helps with whatever you're trying to get online. Bye for now.